man, love technology and you love how it does you. I mean,
We live and die by it.
yeah, man, like they don't want to see us be great, man. We got back together. They took Rich Man from us, and then they tried to. I'm just talking. I don't know what was heard. We'll edit it, I guess, and I'll edit it later. But I think as I was ending, I was talking about we were just talking about how the cap is. Biggest thing I'm concerned about is them actually monitoring it and
Yeah.
how are they going to govern it to where that's exactly what I said and govern it and because we hate to use that word because we feel like judges are governing the NCAA right now, but how are they going to keep it intact and make sure that people are abiding by it? We'll see. It just creates another bear for me, like that could come, come up out of control. But
Yeah.
anyways, well, Fish, man, exciting times today was the official cleats on the ground day for Georgia. Kirby had his presser this morning. Man, we might have Rich Man back. If we do, man, they're going to try to help us be great again.
Yep.
But Kirby was in his presser this morning. Uh, talked about things about his. Obviously it's great to be back. Looking forward to a really great year, getting this time together to kind of be, you know, problem free, get away from your phone, get away from your girlfriend, even your parents and friends, and just lock in, go to work. And there's a lot of, he talked about how there's a lot of players really excited about this. You got a lot of players that look at this year and go, number one, when you get towards now your junior year, especially your senior year, you wonder, like, is this it? Is this the last hurrah? Like, who am I playing with? I look to my left and right, and is this go time this year? Is this the year that we can go out, put the puzzle pieces together, and make a run?
Yep.
And so, obviously, tons of questions. Obviously, didn't get Richmond back. Tons of questions that he was asked, but a lot of the same stuff that was asked around SEC media days, and we'll kind of also go over in the notes. But Fish, before we get in there, like, how excited are you, man? That football is starting. We are. I think my countdown. I'm guessing on my countdown. I think we're on 32 days, man. How excited are you?
Okay, so confession
On
while
your
we're
word.
live, just
Yep.
because. Okay. I'm a nerd. Okay. ESPN is showing old games 24/7.
Okay.
Okay. I got them recording. Okay. I record all college football that ESPN shows on the channel. So I have like 50 games from last year on my DVR. So I sleep with the TV on, full disclosure. Okay. Not noise, just picture. Okay. Because my wife can hear it. She can hear a mouse fart 10 miles away. So I have to have the volume down. So I've been watching just every night when I go to sleep. It's a football game. Um, when I'm at home, if I'm like cleaning my room or the office or whatever, football's on. It's games from last year because I don't have any new content to watch, obviously. But I am ready. I'm eating, I'm sleeping, I'm breathing college football. I just spent 2 grand on Auburn tickets today. Got the parking pass, got the tickets. Boom, we're going. It's done. I'm ready. I can feel it. I can taste it. I can smell the liquor in the air, in Athens, with everybody tailgating because we're in a parking deck. And I swear to God, we're surrounded by just lots and lots and lots of Georgia fans who are partying and getting crunk and getting ready to go in the stadium. And, just, oh, I can't wait. Can't wait. I'm excited.
Dude, you might have solidified. We were still debating what game we were going to go to, man. But you might have solidified it, man. I mean, if we can go to Georgia Auburn, man, we
We're
can get
getting
up there
together.
and yeah, man. So I don't know. We might need to hop off camera after this to talk about that. But dude, I agree, man. I'm pumped. I think the players are obviously pumped. They're out there, and everything is a progression. Now they'll look at when they get out of camp, and it'll get a little bit more real as scrimmages start to come into play. And usually by scrimmage one or two, usually two, we kind of figure out who's going to get primarily you know the 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 important snaps at the beginning of the year. But man, we got some live updates from today. I'm going to be sharing these for everyone listening. If you're not already done so, go find us on Georgia. I'm sorry, Dogs Down South on our TikTok page. I'm doing daily updates on camp. Okay, So pretty
Nice.
much fall camp, and as well as leading up to the very first game, every single day we will have some sort of update, very small, but something to keep up with if you're on the move. And yeah, so it's going to be exciting. But observations. So right when we get off here, I'm gonna do an update on TikTok. So make sure you catch it. You can get the kind of small version of all this. But things that stood out today, Fish. So let's go through them. I want to get your comments on this. But right out of the bat, couple of noticeable things out of practice today. Number one, Isaiah Gibson, the talented linebacker outside. I'm sorry, from the Warner Robins, was noted that he was lined up running with the defensive line today. Um,
Ooh.
interesting. I know that they've been trying to find a spot for Isaiah. He came in very highly touted kid. I do think one of the things that always kind of scratched my head about is when he came in as a freshman, he got noticeably bigger, right? Not necessarily put weight on, but he noticeably bulked up a little bit as far as muscle. And then this year, apparently, he's taken another step in that direction. So he was noticeable that he was running with the defensive line group. He spent the first individual drills working at defensive end with Gabe Harris, who's coming back from that foot injury. Other noticeables, Caden Prothrow was drawing praise um, for being kind of like the man without position. Although he's running a lot of his reps are being ran with the wide receivers, but I think he's going to have one of those years where what kind of exotic formation can we get him in to get him the ball? He has good
Yeah.
hands, really talented kid. Running backs worked on catching the ball out of the backfield. One of the players that was focused on as far as taking those, I call them those Cash Jones reps, was Dwight Phillips Jr.
Yeah.
So, man, Dwight Phillips, I hear Kirby raving about Dwight Phillips. So before I go any farther, any more of that those updates, I want to give you a chance to chime in, Fish. But so we talked about Isaiah Gibson, Caden Prothrow, Dwight Phillips. Like, what sparks? What do you get from all that?
Just I feel like he's gonna be taking reps with the wideouts until we figure out what the wideouts are gonna be. I
Right,
think that's just Kirby's being safe, because the man can play anywhere.
right,
So I think Kirby's just being safe. Plus, we got three other good tight ends, that are getting reps too. So that's spreading the wealth. That's spreading the reps out. So make sure that everybody gets reps.
right.
So I like that. I'm glad to hear that because yeah, he's going to be. I want some packages for him. I'm sure Bobo has gotten something, some sort of play, some sort of formation, some sort of package for him, some sort of red zone something, down there on the goal line, maybe 5-10 yard line, something like that. Um, so I'm excited to hear that. Uh, just I don't know, man.
Yeah,
Just
I agree with you. I'll give you something else that's pretty fun. It was noticed today that the quarterbacks, right, Gunnar Stockton, Ryan Puglisi, Montgomery, Hezekiah Millender, Bryson Beaver, also Mike Bobo. They're all rocking mustaches. I don't know if you
ooh,
read
really,
this or not. They're
I
all
didn't.
rocking the stash. So noticeably, Stockton has a stash. I'm looking to see these pictures, man. Mike Bobo, all these guys. But that's the funny part. But I will tell you, what was noticeable today was everyone feels like that Ryan Puglisi has made a solid push to go. That is the second guy. So if you're looking at Puglisi and you're going like, what is this quarterback room and how is it dialed in after Gunnar Stockton? Because we know Gunnar Stockton is the guy. But apparently Ryan Puglisi has taken a huge step forward to solidifying himself for that second spot. I know there's a lot of stuff coming out of G Day. And we're human. I mean, Puglisi's reading this stuff and looking at this stuff, but I thought that was really cool to hear. Other things that were notable was let's see, reading through some stuff. Sokovia White Helton, Craig Dandridge, the talented, speedy freshman, were noted that they were returning punts and returning kicks, specifically punts. Helton was going first. This was a position that makes sense because Zach Branch was doing this last year. We're obviously looking at Sokovia White Helton to take over in that slot position to take on, at least at first, a lot of the reps
Yeah.
that Zach Branch was getting. So that I found that very interesting. Another thing I found very interesting from some of the notes were the defensive backs. They said immediately that Khalil Barnes stood out. He stood out as a guy that is fit in perfectly with this team. He's already got great dynamic with KJ Bolden, Dinkins, a lot of those guys, DeMello Jones. Kyron Jones was noted that he was back on a pitch count back there. But Fish, hearing all that, like, and I will tell you, I'm really excited. I mean, I'm excited about football in general, but the defensive side of the ball for me is very exciting. And our secondary and the depth in our secondary, like, speak a little bit into that. I know we talked a little bit about it postseason before this, but what are you excited about hearing those updates about the secondary? I know you're really high on Jamari Riddle too.
Yeah, I am. And didn't is he injured still?
Mm-mm, we're healthy. Wait, we might have
Okay,
Rich Man back. Rich Man, we got you.
there you go.
I see him.
I see him too.
We got a field. Wait, I hear his
Oh,
lips moving. I hear his lips moving. That's crazy. I see his lips moving, and we lost him.
I hear his lips
Oh,
moving.
man, dude.
Woo!
Rich man's
But
going
yeah,
through it, bro. Rich
I
man's going
know,
through it.
I know, I know. Short lived, but I'm glad we were all three able to still be here
Yeah,
for at least a few minutes.
yeah, we saw each
Hopefully
other
we get
again.
him back soon. Um, I love a no fly zone. You know,
Uh-huh.
the Legion of Boom was one of my favorite position groups ever that I've ever seen play because they can impact the game. And uh, I think we're putting something together. I think we got something going in the secondary, dude. We can all stay healthy, okay?
Uh-huh.
We can, we can all stay healthy, especially like Ellis Robinson, KJ Bolden, because Ellis Robinson might have been the best cornerback in the SEC last year. I
Yeah.
know he led the SEC in interceptions, and he didn't start playing right until about game 5 or 6.
Right.
So, that I'm interested to see. I'm cautious optimism, okay? Because whenever I tend to get excited about things or a certain guy or a certain position, like something happens, something crazy happens. It's like I was talking to my daughter. Okay, my youngest was a big Zach Branch fan. Okay,
Uh-huh.
we even got her a Falcons jersey. Okay, number 17, Zach Branch. Like she's got the
Mhm.
jersey. She loves the man, and I don't blame her because he was my favorite player on the offensive side of the ball last year too. So
Right.
like anyway, I got off track, but like so
You good?
when I get excited, okay, because we were talking about it, and then Jalen Walker, because I was telling her about another Georgia player who plays for the Falcons, and we got all excited about him. We were talking that he was going to have a breakout year this year. He was going to lead the team in sacks, because Pierce isn't going to be playing, 100%. So, but then like yesterday,
Yeah.
ACL
Yeah.
gone for the year. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to hold it back. I don't want to get too hyped, out in public, if you know what I
Right.
mean.
Right.
Because I don't want karma to come get me. But yeah, I'm excited, dude. Like I said, cautious optimism, best way to explain it for me.
Yeah.
We could have
Yeah.
something special back there this year.
Yeah. No, I get it. I totally get it. It, it, you know, other things that, you look at with expectations for fall are you're so excited. Everybody's like just but we have to understand like what camp is about. I think Kirby does a really great job. There was shout outs from the strength and conditioning, which strength and conditioning spends 90% of the time in the off season with them. And a lot of shout outs to a lot of players who have been very silent with their mouths, but have been very active with their work ethic. And those things stood out. And I think when you do that too, you have a great off season in the weight room. I think that the health piece longevity wise throughout the season shows up more, right?
Mhm.
So one of those players that was shouted out that was also seen today that was doing an incredible job that, Kirby said, uh, is absolutely going to help take the pressure off what he would say was all these questions about our passing game would be Jaden Riddell. And he had a very good spring and there was questions in the media session about like, hey, like, what do you think about Jaden Riddell? And Kirby was very frank about this. He was like, look, Jaden had a great spring. He had a really great G day. He had a really great 23, 24 days of spring. But we're in camp, and you would some of these players that come in now it's layers to these things. It's levels to these things. But he hasn't fallen off. He hasn't fallen off. He had a really great summer. He was shouted out by the strength and conditioning staff. So like where's the bar in this? It would be crazy to know that like players like Ethan Barbour, who's getting a second chance after his injury, that like right now, if you really looked at it like a 1, 2, 3 layers of depth, Ethan Barbour doesn't fall into that until like fourth. I mean, you got Lawson Lucky, you got Elias Williams. I think Jaden Riddell comes into that play as far as positional type situations, but this tight end room is really locked and loaded, and that was noted by some of the stuff as well today. Uh, Other notes was wide receiver. So Talon Taylor, man, he's being coached up. You can tell. People say this a lot of times. You can tell who Kirby knows has. He knows who the players are that have the talent, the niche, the twitch to have a really good year, and I think he coaches them a little bit harder. So he was very, very upfront and very in the face of Talon Taylor today, a lot, which kind of tells me something. And I'll let you chime in on this, Fish, too. Like Talon Taylor's going to be relied on this year to be a big boy, right? You've heard Scobie White Helton, you've heard Cannon, you've heard London Humphreys, but Taylor, he might be that it factor guy. What do you think, Fish?
Well, okay, so I listened to a couple of radio shows. I watch Feinbaum religiously. That was something me and my dad always talked about every day during football season, especially. We always talked about it. That's the name I hear the most when we talk about the wide receivers. Okay, it's Caden Pro and it's Talon Taylor. Like those are the ones I'm hearing about. I'm not hearing anything about anybody else. So that tells me that this kid has like a very high ceiling. And if he's not carrying the PTSD of dropping that wide open potential game winning touchdown against Bama, then he can get past that, which I'm pretty sure he already has, then he could be special. And when you hear a lot of people talking about it, and I'm telling you, we've got a deep room, maybe a lot of people that we don't know a lot about yet, like Isaiah Canyon, the guy from Tech. He's supposed to be our number one, this year coming in. So, but I'm not hearing anything about him.
Yeah.
So, this guy, hopefully the hype train doesn't, run him, get to be too heavy for him. But I'm excited, dude. Fingers crossed, this kid could be something.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I agree with you. And I think Cannon's flying on the radar. Gunner made some comments at the Peyton Manning Passing Academy. Also made some comments around SEC Media Days that Cannon is a specimen in pads. If I had to give you a little bit of kind of a stature, look at a Colby Young last year and what he did for us. I think when you look at Georgia's starting to get into this trend of going, okay, like if we're not going to be that team that right now can if we can't get those pass catchers right now, they're looking and going, I can go to Georgia and I can have 1,000 yards receiving every year. However, we know what the makeup of that needs to look like, and I think if anything, we're into a little bit of that. Hey, so we got this productivity out of Colby Young. Who's a guy that can give us that spark, big body wide receiver, he can go up and get. And we missed that productivity when he was out for the time he was. I think Cannon reminds you a little bit of that guy.
Yep.
And that's a big role for us. And I think London Humphreys, I said it last night, not because he's a white boy in pads, but I think London Humphreys and Ladd can get to remind you a little bit. London Humphreys is a guy that gets sneaky, right? It's a white boy wide receiver, right? And it's like, oh yeah, you go to Ladd. No, It's not that at all. It's actually because they remind each other a lot because London's sneaky good because of the ways that Ladd was. He runs great routes. He knows the defense. He knows where he's going to be open. Ladd and London are not going to out finesse you. They're not going to outrun you. They're actually going to catch the ball in tight windows. They're not scared of contact, and they're going to do things that are going to get them open. And it's not built off of just being a very elusive receiver. So that's interesting. But one of the things I'll add to that was brought to our attention. This is the last thing I have as far as an update was because you talked about injuries. Obviously, no Dante Dowdell. Still recovering from the ATV accident. There's no timetable for Dante to be back, but he is doing better from what I understand, but trying to get back into doing the day-to-day stuff, just life day-to-day, which is great news. Obviously, no one spotted Amaris Williams, towards ACL. Defensive back Justice Patrick was not noticed. Wide receiver Trey Shields. But other than that, Kirby feels really good about the health of this team right now in camp. Now, he's going to dial it up in camp. Today will probably be, very, it's probably we're going to go out. We're going to get some practice outside. There's going to be probably a lot of meetings, a lot of classroom stuff going on type things. But for a first day, this was a lot to see. Also, when you looked at another comment was for someone who was limited this offseason with shoulder injury, sophomore linebacker Zayden Walker is already one of the more physically impressive players on the field. Much was said about this linebacker room. Much was said about how these linebackers were flying around today on day one. Could this be the best linebacker crew we ever had? Fish, what do you think? Could this be it? I mean,
Okay, they're awesome, but I don't know, dude, because 2021 was special. Nakobe Dean, Channing Tindall, guy who got the number one pick. What was his name? Went to the Jaguars. I mean, those guys were special. And we had a lot of speed off the edges. I mean, we still didn't get a lot of sacks. Still didn't have a lot of sacks, but still one of the best defenses in the nation. But they're special, and I can't wait to see what Chris Cole looks like in pads, because I swear he doubles in size every freaking offseason. That dude is swole. He's one of my favorite people. He's one of my favorite defenders we have. Definitely, probably my favorite linebacker. I love me some Chris Cole.
Yeah, man. It's good stuff. Well, hey, man, it's first day was exciting. A lot of things out there. I'm sure we'll get a lot more stuff in days to come. But let's have a little fun at the end, Fish. Let's take about 5 position groups and let's maybe talk like what we call our panic meter. Okay, as we digest what we're seeing in the first 3-4 days of fall camp, I think it'll be important for listeners if we kind of go, where are we at as far as we haven't seen a lot as far as specimen, as far as sample size, but like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like boiling panicked, 1 being cool as a cucumber. Where do you have some of these position groups at and why? So I think we're going to do about 5. So we'll do it down. We'll do defense. We'll go 3. We'll do about 6. So we'll do secondary. We'll do linebackers, and we'll do defensive line. Then we'll do. We're going to do the quarterbacks. Let's do running. Let's do 5. Let's do running backs, wide receiver. 6 wide receivers, offense, and offensive line. So let's start with this. Let's start on the defense side of the ball. So if you could rate it right now, because we just kind of left this area, we really talked about the secondary and everyone who's coming back. But really quick, if you had 60 seconds, tell me your panic meter number for the secondary, including cornerback, safety, star, all of that. Tell me your panic meter and why you would give them that score.
Okay, so 10 being the most panicked, and 1
10 being boiling panicked,
chill.
1 being cool as a cucumber.
Okay. 4.
Okay, why?
And that's just because depth. Okay, because if 1 or 2 guys goes down, okay, if everybody stays healthy the whole season, 1. Okay, but I didn't want to go 1. I
Right.
wanted to play safe, and I'm going to
Right.
say 4, and it has nothing to do with talent. It's just straight depth. That's
Right.
it.
I'm with that. I'm with that. Yeah, I'm kind of in that same range. I mean, there's no sample size, but we're assuming sample size will be right now what we presume it will be, which is what we see of G Day, what we see of the makeup of this team, what we have coming back. I mean, this is a defense that has a lot of returning starters, a secondary that has a lot of returning starters.
Yes.
I'm close to that number. I'm liking it at around a 3. I'll tell you what even gets me to 3. Injuries are part of the game. I get it. So it's hard to vote that in. But the thing I want to see is what Kirby said in the presser. He said, we can teach them to do anything, but the biggest thing that sets them apart about who's going to be playing on Saturdays is, and he said this because this is 9 times out of 10, this is going to be the challenge from Georgia and how their defense is built.
Yep.
Is you got to be able to tackle, you got to be able to play man coverage, and
Yep.
you have to be able to know how to go up and adjust for the football in deep ball situations.
Yep.
All things that you've seen us, and I would say if I ranked those, I think tackling would be last. I really feel good about our secondary and how we've tackled in the last 2-3 years.
Me
I
too.
feel like man coverage is a strong suit for us, but I do feel like the aggression in the man coverage has put us in bad situations in our past where the deep ball has affected us because we took bad adjustments and angles. That's the only thing that worries me. Everything else, I mean, I love KJ Bolden. I really like how Jamar Riddle and Khalil Barnes are going to fit into this. I think Dinkins is kind of who's going to get in the star, who's going to be playing with KJ. And then I love the cornerbacks. I mean, obviously Ellis, DeMello. I mean, you got Kyron Jones. You got some names over there. Fitzpatrick, if he's healthy. You got some names over there that could really help with depth. But kind of with you, it's a safe number, but that's the reasoning why. What about linebackers for you? What's your panic meter on the linebacker? 2. Why are you there for 2?
All these names I'm looking at right now. I'm sitting here looking at the depth chart, and these are guys that have been here. There's not many guys I'm looking at that I don't like, that I haven't seen in the red and black before. And the more time you spend with Kirby and Glenn Schumann, the better you're going to get. Like,
Yeah.
you're going to get coached hard, you're going to get coached the right way, and you're going to improve because they're going to make you smarter. They're going to lift your football IQ. Like, you might have all the talent in the world, but they're going to tell you where to be and when to be there. And dude, looking good.
It's a
It's
good
looking
room.
good.
This is a real good room. You look at Raylan, obviously Justin Williams. If you haven't done so, go check out my episode from last night where we talked about one of the things coming into camp is who's going to, Georgia likes to go 4 deep. They like to roll 4 on the inside. I think this is more of a linebacker room to go. Who's going to be opposite of Raylan, obviously, and we know we have talent in Chris Cole, Justin Williams. Terrell Foster has done a really great job. He brings a lot of stability. Terrell Foster's a redshirt senior, man, so he brings a lot of stability, a lot of growth, a lot of matureness. But Zayden Walker, we really feel good about being just different, right? He's twitchy. Here's my thing: I got my panic meter a little higher on these linebackers, and I'll tell you why. I'm going to put them at 7, and when you hear my reasoning, you might go, okay, this is what makes me panic about this room. It's so good, but is it going to be able to do what it needs to do, right?
True.
Can we get to the quarterback this year, man? Can we get to the quarterback, and can we look at all that talent and go, can Glenn Schumann and this defensive staff get these guys to the quarterback and get him on the ground? It will make, I mean, obviously, Fish, we know it's the difference maker in how long man coverage is so hard when you got to cover for a long time.
Yep.
I mean, we showed it against Ole Miss. It's hard to cover for
Yep.
that long if you're not getting to the quarterback, right? So
Yep.
that's why my panic meter's a little higher. I have all faith in these guys, but is this talent going to get the quarterback to the ground? Right?
That makes sense. That checks out.
That's
I mean, I understand that.
yeah, that's it for
100%.
me.
That makes sense.
What about D line? What's your
D
panic meter for the
line,
defensive line?
we need to be a little better at stopping the run this year. And it's the same. It's the usual suspects. I mean, you got Gabe, Jordan, and Elijah.
Mhm.
That's them. They're starting. It's their line. Um, they've they've got to improve. I mean, they were good last year. Don't get me wrong, but we
Yeah,
were stopping the run is usually something we are great at, but we weren't great last year, or elite. I'm sorry. We weren't elite enough last year. So I'm
Right.
going to say this is probably my highest worry on the defensive side of the ball, and I'm going to go 7.
Yeah. I dig it, man. I can see it. Um, I can see it. For me, I'm the same. I'm gonna kind of be on the same lines of you. I'm gonna be a 5 because it's like a seesaw, right?
Yep.
In this group with Gabe Harris is a difference maker, right? Now I can see where we're going with Isaiah Wilson. I mean, I don't for the life of me, like I don't understand I don't understand in my mind like as much talent on this line. Injuries really took this line down last year. You know, you look
Yep.
at Jordan Hall, you got
Yep.
him returning this year. Can Griffith take another step forward in the right direction and be just a man presence on that line? And I think he's hyped up about that. I mean, he just saw Jalen Carter get the top defensive tackle, deal in the highest, defense for a defensive the highest deal for a defensive tackle in the NFL is Jalen Carter right now.
Yep.
So, like, can they put up or shut up? Now, I'm just going to tell you, Gabe Harris we trust. If he can stay healthy, this line is different with Gabe Harris. It's different with Gabe Harrison there. And if
Yep.
they can do that, it takes that panic meter for the linebackers
Yeah.
way
Oh,
down.
100%.
And I agree
100%.
with tackling. I do agree with you on tackling. That's spot on. Can they tackle? Can we stop the run? That can't be based off of last season. This is a new year, right?
Yep.
You got some offensive coordinators that are coming to the SEC that are no longer Billy Napier and Hugh Freeze, and we'll keep it at that. But
It's going to look different.
exactly. All right, let's move. What about the running back room? Tell me about the number you got for them. What's the panic meter on the running backs?
You know, I'm not really worried about these guys. I know what they're capable of, and I know what they can do, and I know what kind of O line we're going to have this year. 3, 4,
I like it.
just
What
for
what
just
gives you a
for
little bit of a twitch as far as worries,
attrition.
attrition? Okay.
Just staying healthy. And I say that this is me every preseason, and
Uh-huh.
because Kirby gets the guys in the door, man. Like he gets the dudes, he gets the men, the guys that he wants,
Yeah.
and all of them are capable. And he's such a good coach and has such a good like crew, a good staff underneath him. I'm not coaching does not scare me at all. We have one of the best coaches, like group of coaches, from just the staff, coordinators to Kirby in the
Yeah.
SEC.
Yeah.
Um, so, but just staying healthy, and I'm beating a dead horse. I know you want me to come up with something different. I know, but I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
They just got to stay healthy. I mean, give me one thing, say something negative about Nate Frazier.
Yeah.
Can you,
If,
off the top of your head?
I, you know, my panic meter for the running backs is kind of similar to. I'm a little bit lower than the linebackers, but I'm a little bit higher than you are. I'm at like a 6. I'll tell you why with the running back room. We talked about depth. We also have to understand like how do they complement each other. What does this running back room look like without a McCray? You know, Josh McCray, that short yardage situation, but also whether we like it or not, you know, we most people liked Cash Jones. We also feel like that he was utilized a little
Pretty,
bit weirdly in the past
yeah,
year. But like Dwight Phillips is going to take on a little bit of that role, and he was going first with the third down backs. So obviously he is that guy that I guess we can per se, for better ways to describe it, will be taking on that Jones role. But this guy has a lot more elusive game breaker type speed than Cash. No offense to Cash. Good
yeah.
hands, but game breaker speed, right?
Well,
So whether you like it or not, and the creativity Bobo is going to use, you know, I have a feeling that he's going to be trying to get this guy the ball on third down in situations where he can make a lot of it, give or take
you,
whether you like it or not. But
you
the
know,
thing I
Bobo loves a
worry about
screen.
is yeah, screen, yeah, well, screen, the old different. The thing I worry about that gives me the 6 is like after you get that right, you look at depth. You know, do we have enough? Dante Dowdell was obviously paid and brought in for good reason, right? You got to wonder, does Dwight really fill out that third running back room? Because Georgia's going to use Chauncey and Nate very similarly, right? They don't. Georgia does not see a huge difference in their capabilities per se, because we all know Nate runs the tackle. So I would just say when you look at, is there a fall off, right? Or does Bo and does Jay Lamar, do they understand that they have an opportunity because Georgia does go deep in their running back room? I mean, you numerous times last year did see your fourth and fifth string running back for Georgia in certain scenarios where they just wanted a different, I guess per se, oomph in what was going on. So that's the only reason I got him a little higher. Is there a big drop off after Chauncey, Nate, Dwight? There is. You're one injury away from being very. It's going to be very hard to do what Georgia likes to do, right? Because the ground and pound, man, it's a stamina type thing too. We're rotating 3, 4 backs sometimes. The trust is more around 2 or 3 backs, but who knows? Let's move to the offensive line. Give me your panic meter number and let's talk about why.
I'm gonna say 3, but that's just trying not to go 1, trying not to let my fangirl come out, and just go, we got the best team in the world. We're nothing, blah 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 blah. Like, you can't touch us, So, but the O line, man. I mean, anybody that knows football can look at this O line and tell that they're going to be trouble. Like, our run game is going to be a lot better than it was last year. There's going to be holes and there's going to be gaps for these guys to hit hard. So I'm not stressing the O line right now. As long as Bobo can keep his thumb healthy, we'll be all right.
Yeah, I got them in that like same range, 3, 4. The only reason I have them a little bit more elevated than just cool as a cucumber is because I wonder how, you got to look at the second layer of this line. Do you have good? Georgia is not based off of a 1 or 2 line. It's a and or. So it's like when you look at, well, what do you got at right starting right guard? It's this or it's this, right? So when you look at a Zakai Hilton, which for listeners, a lot of people are probably going to want to say it as Zyke, but a lot of you guys will know him. He's obviously, he's a 3-star, came out of Buford, and he's a guy I think is going to be your right guard starter this year. But he goes by Zakai Hilton.
Yep.
Does that continue to gain momentum? How he's going to get into? I mean, do I think spring's hard? Yeah, but fall's much harder, right? There's more demand. There's more demand in in the playbook, and there's you also have Jaw Jackson in there somewhere. You look and see how big of a year can Ernest Green have coming back from an injury that was very, very naggy? Drew Bobo, how does he anchor this line in terms of leadership coming off of an injury? And then how does Juan Gaston go from year 1 to year 2? But I think that's kind of what this line will look like. I think from left to right, I think you're going to look at left tackle, you're going to see Ernest Green. Then get left guard, you're probably going to see Glover. At center, you're probably going to see Drew Bobo. Right guard, you're probably going to see either Zakai Hilton or Jaw Jackson, and then I think right tackle, you're probably looking at Juan Gaston. And then everything after that is still an and or an or, but I think that's it for me. It's like, how does it mold together, and does all this stuff that we've seen that's really good about it, does it pan out? Is it produced to the field? Last but not least, Fish. I left the best for last because I know this one can go both ways, but I'm going to include the tight ends in this, okay? Because I think it's a good precursor. But what is your panic meter on the tight ends and wide receivers?
7.
Naturally high, yeah.
7, yeah.
For the same reasons as everybody's panicking, or do you got something? What do you got?
Well, just unprovenness. We don't know a lot about these guys. We know what we saw out of a couple of them last year. We know what the potential is. We know the ceiling's high because with their athletes, they're talented. Like, they've got skills, they got speed, they got height. Some of them, we as a team, I'm sorry, have speed. We got height. We got little bitty guys that are twitchy and quick and wiry, and hard to tackle. We got Zach Branches. We've got, Kobe Youngs, so to speak, as far as stature is what I'm saying. Um, just gotta prove it. Got to go out on the field and play the game, and they got to make plays. They got to get open. They got to catch the ball. Um,
Right.
that's the only reason. Like we know what we're getting out of London. London. We know what we're getting out of. Well, we know what we hope we're getting out of Canyon. From watching him play last year. Saw him play us last year. Although that wasn't his best game. I wouldn't
Yeah.
watch that tape if I was going back to see what this man was about. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna stick with 7. Solid 7.
Yeah. I think 7's good. For lack of doing the same, I will go up a little bit to not have the same score, but I'll go 8, and I'll tell you why. It's because um, I don't think it's because of not trusting that it could be there. I think it's once you said it's like it's unknown, right? We've seen it in G Day, but also we're not unloading the entire playbook at G Day. But how does it all fit in? I think the tight ends are what get it from being absolute boiling panic mode. But it's just because all these players are untapped. Like you didn't see, Talon Taylor was going to be a guy that you could have probably gauged more of last year, but he got hurt, right? And then
Yep.
you got these, flashy freshmen. You got the insertion of Isaiah Cannon, and then you got, London Humphreys. They get targeted last year. Was one of, in my opinion, was one of Gunner's favorite targets as far as like go-to moments. Man, I mean, he was a
Yep.
go-to wide receiver for Georgia last year. I think
Yep.
Zach was firmly entrenched in the game plan, but I think when it looked at giving you a catch, I mean, nope, everybody remembers the Tennessee game, the catch by London Humphreys made that Gunner made that throw. I
Yep.
think he'll be a dependent on guy this year, and I think we're also underutilizing the fact that Lawson Lucky Elias Williams. I think Elias Williams is going to be a nightmare on third down and on the goal line. And I
I
think
think
he's
so too.
matured. I think he's grown, and he has just a lot more God given speed, than
Yep.
the average 240-pound tight end, and Jaden Riddell's built a little bit different. I mean, this tight end room is not only good and it's not only top tier, but it's built different, man. You got a lot of
Yep.
switchiness, a lot of fast, a lot of fast guys, a lot of good hands. They also
Yep.
block well. So it's gonna be incredible. It's got the makeup of a unit that could be incredible. I mean, and believe me, I'm the number one fan for you to go give us no question that this wide receiver room, game 1 and 2, is a force to be reckoned with. I mean,
Yep.
more power to you. I mean, would I like to see an efficient run game? Yeah, of course. But give me some reason to believe that there's no questions asked about this wide receiver. So,
Exactly.
well, Fish, it comes to a close, man, and it's been fun, man. We got nothing but 31 days to we get into the 20s very soon. But by the time the weekend's over, we'll be in the 20s, and we'll be heading towards scrimmage 1 for Georgia. I think for myself and you, final thoughts. I know for myself are just health, man. I know we got to practice. I know we got to get better. I know we got to find some strength and toughness, and we got to figure out how these guys are going to play under adversity. But it'll be very interesting to see what comes out of camp and where we're
Yep.
at as far as what we're seeing in scrimmages. But how about yourself, Fish? Final thoughts? I know you're excited, but any other final
Okay.
thoughts?
I got 2 things, so just
Yeah,
bear with me. Okay,
yeah,
we
of course.
didn't rate the quarterback, or we didn't do the quarterback.
I
But my
didn't, but you
worry
can.
level, my worry level for Gunner is 9.
Okay. Whoa.
9. Because Ole Miss knew, like, he's got that release has to speed up, and he can't be afraid to take shots. Okay, like that's we need to be explosive because they're just going to line up 7, 8 people, or not 7, 8, but like 6, 7 men in the box, and they're going to plug the run. If they're not worried about our passing game, we got to stretch the field, and that's on him. We got some dudes he can throw it to, even if they're not the best, but they're somebody.
Yeah.
But he's got to pull the trigger. Number 2, okay, I wanted to say this when we were talking about Rick when you mentioned it because I'm one of Mark Rick's biggest fans. And one of the reasons I don't do Facebook much anymore is because when we were going through that transition from Kirby to Rick, 3, 4 years after the man was fired or replaced by Kirby, people still feel the need to talk mess about him. But
Hmm.
nobody
Yeah.
seems to understand or remember that there were 3 years, 2 years specifically, where we were one play away from playing for the
Yeah.
national championship. Now, college football looked a lot different back then because it was the top two. There was no playoff. It was the BCS. So, and I was at the Georgia Florida game where Terrence Edward dropped that ball where he was wide open. There was nobody within 15 yards of him. Okay. And David Green laid it up for him and he dropped it and we lost. And so there were two undefeated teams in front of us that year. But that was the only loss we had that year. Okay. That was 2002. Then there was the Stafford Marino team, which you mentioned, that went to play Hawaii. Nobody can tell you that we weren't the best team in the nation
Yeah.
at the end of the year that year. Nobody wanted to play us.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to play us.
I wanted to be in a system where we could prove ourselves on an even playing field and not just be stuck in the game that year. I mean, every
Because
team wants a one. I agree with that.
if there was a playoff that year, that's championship number maybe one or two for Rick. And
Yeah.
then 2012, Bama, SEC championship. Winner of that game goes to play Notre Dame. Aaron Murray choked. Last play of the game. Last play of the game. Like that whole drive, the last 30 seconds of that game, dude. One play. One play. Came down to the last play. We got down to like the 10 or 11. Okay. Came down to one play. One play away from going to play for another national championship. Rick could have had three.
Yeah.
If we had, if we were in the, if we did a playoff back then, Rick might have had three national championships, and Kirby might not even be our coach right now. So the
Yeah.
man got us. He got us. It was just the way college football was ran back then. The way it was. Just top two, BCS, all this. Everything looked different. It was a different game. But just
It
remember that when you're
it did.
when you're talking about Rick,
Yeah.
like
It did. I will
he
say
was
this though. I'll give a rebuttal because we're on the same page. I think we both. I mean, I said it numerous times. It's very hard to critique him hard because the man he is and the coach he was, and even seeing what he's going through now, man, like it's not easy saying those things, but you got to be truthful because sometimes if you're up front, Dog Nation sometimes tries to throw the buffet out there, and I want to
Oh, I
I
know.
want to keep an easy balance and go like, you know, we're doing it in a way that we're calling it what it is, but like if you're out there just bashing him because of the same reasons we bash like a Mike Bobo or I mean, I already heard it the other day. I mean, I said something about Bobo as like I did a wild take about, could he win the Broyles Award this year? And I mean, yeah, I think he can.
He might.
I it there's a whole nother podcast an hour long to talk about like my thoughts on the behind the scenes co-conspiracy theory sometimes about this play calling with Mike Bobo because I have to think that the reason why Kirby backs him so much is because Kirby's looking and going, sometimes we call the plays because I know the chess match we're playing. That's a whole nother podcast. But back to Rick. I just think that man, like I feel like the development of some of the players were not where they should have been. But also like how many of those players would have transferred out in an NIL era with Mark Richt. What the reasoning was behind it, I can't really pinpoint it, man. Because behind the scenes, I think what really was is I think Mark Richt was a nice guy. And I think sometimes if you were to put a little bit of that gutsiness that Kirby brought to the team with his heart and his want to not only be a great football team but raise boys to men, no pun intended for the boys to men. I know that name's already taken in the world of groups, but I think it's different, right? I mean, that's the
Yeah.
one thing. Mark Rick's flex was running the whole team out for Georgia, Florida, and it was like it was kind of cool. But you look back and you'd be like, dude, we were dancing in the end zone. Like, what kind of flex was that? I mean, I also look at it and go, Urban
Hey,
Meyer called timeouts on us, and it's like, what's the bigger flex, right? Ballsy to call timeouts and let the fans just rip into you, right?
yeah.
But I will say he had some corny things and ways to do things, but it worked, right? It worked. In a lot of ways, you're right. We were very close in a lot of areas and it worked. So
Yeah.
and Mark Richt will still go down in the history of Georgia football, probably for more bad than good, but in a lot of people's mind, way more good than bad.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're probably the only
Yeah.
ones that'll say that. Well, Fish, lots to keep our eyes on. Obviously, we're going to get a little bit more consistent. I know we'll be going a lot here in the near future, and then football seasons are right around the corner, so it's
Yes, sir.
here, man. So a lot more of this. We'll see if we can get the technical difficulties of Rich Man taken care of, and hopefully we can get him back in the swing of things as well this season. So we're looking forward to it.
Yep.
But yeah, man, great time. If you haven't done so, go and like and follow us. Like and follow, share, talk to your friends while you're around the water cooler, if that's still a thing, or maybe just around the coffee pot. Tell
There
them
you go.
about Dogs Down South, Facebook Dogs Down South, YouTube. I'm missing all the things, and TikTok Dogs Down South, as well as Apple Podcast Dogs Down South. Fish, looking forward to our next time. It'll be very soon. We'll have a lot to talk about. Looking forward to the rest of this week of practice to see where we're at, and then a scrimmage coming soon. But for myself, Fish, and the late great, but still not here, and wondering if he's still trying to log in, Rich Man. It's been a pleasure. You guys have a great night, Dog Nation, and as always on Dogs Down South, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.